Listen closely, because what I'm about to say will hit you hard, and it might just change the way you see everything. You're out there in a world that never stops talking, shouting, pushing. It's a battle to be heard, to be noticed, to be respected. Everyone's scrambling, raising their voices, trying to outdo the noise. And if you're honest with yourself, maybe you've been doing the same. You yell, you prove, you push. But here's the truth nobody tells you. That noise. It's empty, it's exhausting, and it's weak. True power. It doesn't need to scream. It doesn't need to prove a thing. It commands. Quietly, unseen, yet impossible to ignore. That's the silent force, the strength that doesn't shout but holds every room it enters. Look around. Who do you really respect? The loudest person? Or the one who stands calm, collected, like they own the moment without saying much? That's the kind of power I'm talking about. It's the power the ancient Stoics mastered. These men lived through chaos, war, loss, betrayal, but they didn't break. They didn't lose their cool. Instead, they became unstoppable by controlling their minds and emotions. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That strength is silent, it's steady, it's real, and it's waiting inside you. But this isn't a magic trick or a quick fix. It's a skill, a muscle you build every day through discipline, patience, and self-control. This force isn't about being cold or emotionless. It's about mastering your feelings so they don't master you. It's about staying steady when everything around you feels like it's falling apart. Imagine walking into a room filled with tension. People arguing, chaos in the air. You don't raise your voice. You don't join the fight. You breathe. You stand firm. And somehow your calm breaks through the noise. People listen. They respect you. That's the silent force in action. Now you might think, that sounds good, but how do I get there? That's exactly why I made this video. I'm going to walk you through 6 powerful lessons, straight from the Stoics and real life, that will help you build that quiet strength. But before we go any further, I want you to make a promise to yourself. Promise me you won't skip any part of this journey. Missing even one step means losing part of the power. Promise me you'll commit, because this is about changing your life, not just for a moment, but forever. And promise me you'll take action, not just watch and forget. So what does this power look like in your daily life? It's the patience to listen when others jump to conclusions. It's the confidence to say less and mean more. It's the ability to control your anger, fear, and frustration instead of letting them control you. It's the discipline to keep your focus when distractions scream for your attention. It's the strength to walk away from conflict when it doesn't serve you, not out of fear, but because you know your worth. The silent force doesn't make you invisible, it makes you impossible to ignore. People will respect you because you don't need their approval. You command respect because you've earned it inside. And the best part? This power isn't reserved for some special few. It's inside every single person willing to do the work. Let's unleash it together. Number 1, emotional control is quiet strength. You want real power? Control your emotions, not suppress them, not ignore them, but rule them, like a king who knows his people but doesn't let them riot. Most people live like leaves in the wind, tossed around by whatever emotion hits them. Anger, they explode. Jealousy, they sulk. Fear, they freeze. But the person who understands the Stoic mindset knows this. Power isn't in feeling nothing. Power is in choosing your response. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who worked in a high-stress job. Every day his boss belittled him. Co-workers disrespected him. Most people would have snapped, maybe quit or fought back in anger, but not him. He stayed calm, listened, responded with clarity, and walked with dignity. Eventually, one by one, people started looking at him differently. Why? Because he didn't react like everyone else. He had emotional control, and that silence, that ability to stay steady when others lost their minds, that earned him respect. Quietly, slowly, fully. Think about this. He who angers you controls you. That's not just a saying, it's a warning. The moment you give in to rage or panic, you hand over your power. Stoics teach us to pause, to breathe, to observe before we respond. You don't have to match someone's disrespect, you just have to outlast it with grace. That doesn't mean you're weak, it means you're measured. A lion doesn't respond to every bark. Why? Because he knows what he is, and so must you. This kind of emotional strength doesn't just make you respected, it protects your peace. People start to sense something different in you. They feel it in how you speak, how you move, how you don't flinch when life throws its worst. You become like still water, deep, unmoved, and full of hidden strength. If you're trying to gain control over your emotions right now, start simple. When something frustrates you, don't react instantly. Observe it, question it, breathe through it. Take time before responding. Bit by bit, you'll find your emotions start to serve you, not rule you. Because real power isn't loud, it's silent, steady, respected. Number 2, your presence is louder than your voice. There's a silent force that speaks before you say a word. Your presence. Ever walked into a room and felt someone's energy before they even opened their mouth? That's not magic. That's the result of inner stillness, confidence, and clarity showing on the outside. And it's one of the most ancient tools of Stoic power. You don't need to raise your voice to raise your value. You become valuable by mastering your presence. Presence is how your body speaks when your mouth is shut. It's your posture, your eyes, your calmness under pressure. It's the way you don't fidget, the way you listen without interrupting, the way you seem unmoved by petty chaos. People feel this. Even if they don't understand it, they feel it, and they respect it. There's a quote from Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, that says, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." In other words, don't talk about who you are. Show it in the way you carry yourself. That is presence. That is silent power. Now let's be real. Most people are uncomfortable with silence. When there's a pause in conversation, they rush to fill it. When things get tense, they blurt something out. That's because silence reveals things like insecurity or anxiety. But when you're okay with silence, when you lean into it with full awareness, it becomes your strength. People start leaning into your energy instead of pulling away from it. Presence also comes from knowing who you are. You don't have to be loud to be seen. The quietest person in the room often has the most power because they're observing everything. They're choosing when to act instead of reacting to everything. To build this kind of presence, start small. Sit with good posture. Make eye contact without aggression. Let others talk, but don't feel the need to fill space. Speak slower, deliberate, with purpose. You don't need to try to be powerful. You need to stop doing the things that make you feel small. Presence isn't given, it's built. And once you have it, people listen to you without being told to. That's the Stoic way. That's ancient power. Number 3, detachment is the ultimate discipline. Let's talk about something that modern life fights against constantly: detachment. In a world that pressures you to care about everything, status, likes, money, comparison, the strongest move is to detach from what you can't control. Detachment isn't coldness, it's clarity. It's knowing what deserves your energy and what doesn't. Imagine a person who can walk away from drama without explaining themselves. Someone who doesn't need everyone to like them. someone who can lose and not fall apart, win and not brag. That person radiates silent power. Why? Because they are not owned by anything outside themselves. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoics, once said, "He is a great man who uses earthenware dishes as if they were silver." What does that mean? It means your peace, your strength, your dignity should never depend on external things. When you treat simple things with the same calm you treat luxury, you become untouchable. That's detachment. Detachment is freedom. Freedom from needing approval. Freedom from chasing what doesn't feed your soul. Freedom from being emotionally shaken by every opinion or outcome. Now, this doesn't mean you shouldn't feel emotions or pursue goals. It means you don't attach your identity to them. You do your best, but you let go of the outcome. Let me give you a real example. There was a man who had trained years for a promotion. When the day came, it went to someone else. Everyone expected him to explode or quit, but he didn't. He simply smiled, shook hands, and kept working with the same passion. Why? Because his effort was under his control. The result was not. That man had detachment. And guess what? Months later, he got an even better opportunity, simply because he stayed calm and consistent. Life is always testing you. Can I take this from you and watch you break? Detachment answers, take it. I'll still be me. You don't need to become emotionless. You need to become emotionally sovereign, where your peace isn't rented to the world, where your silence says, you can't shake me. Start practicing detachment in small ways. Stop arguing over every little thing. Don't chase people who walk away. Let people misunderstand you. Let the results go once you've done your part. This discipline will change you. You'll start feeling lighter, stronger, more peaceful. People will notice. They'll ask, why doesn't anything seem to bother you? And you won't even need to answer. Your calm will say it all. Number 4, discipline speaks louder than motivation. Let's talk about something that truly separates those who are respected from those who are just temporarily admired. Discipline. Motivation is loud. You hear it in the form of hype videos, social media quotes, or people saying, let's go. But discipline is silent. It doesn't brag. It doesn't need applause. It shows up every single day, even when nobody's watching. Stoics didn't chase motivation. They didn't wait for the right moment. They built routines that shaped their character. That's the key. Discipline isn't about doing something once. It's about becoming someone over time. Marcus Aurelius wrote this in his journal. At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I am rising to do the work of a human being. This wasn't a fancy quote. It was a reminder to himself, daily. That's discipline. Most people don't lack dreams. They lack consistency. They want respect without repetition. But respect doesn't come from a single moment. It's built slowly, like a temple, brick by brick. Let me share a personal story from someone I once knew. He was soft-spoken, never talked about what he was working on, but every morning, without fail, he woke up at 5 a.m. and trained. Not because he had a big competition, not for show. He did it for himself. 1 year later, he looked different, moved different. And suddenly people were asking him for advice, for guidance, but he never changed his tone. He still moved in silence. That's the thing about discipline. It doesn't ask for respect. It earns it. You want to build silent power? Start with structure. Set a wake-up time and honor it. Create routines that serve your mind and body. Show up even when no one claps. And when you fail, get up without complaining. People think power is flashy, but true strength is showing up when it's boring, when it's cold, when it's inconvenient. That's where silent warriors are built. Ask yourself, What do I do when no one's watching? What habits define me? Am I waiting to feel inspired, or am I already in motion? Remember this: lions don't need reminders to hunt. It's in them. Make discipline part of who you are, not something you force, but something you flow with. That's the Stoic path: quiet, unwavering, relentless. Number 5. Speak less, mean more. There's power in your words, but there's even more power in choosing when and how to use them. We live in a time of oversharing. Everyone wants to speak, tweet, argue, or explain themselves. But the person who speaks with intention, who uses fewer words but delivers more meaning, commands a different kind of respect. That's not just smart, that's Stoic. The philosopher Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we should listen more than we say." This wasn't about being shy. It was about being powerful enough not to need the last word, powerful enough to listen deeply, to let silence do the heavy lifting. Have you ever seen someone dominate a room with just 1 sentence? They didn't speak much, but when they did, everyone listened. That's because their words weren't noise. They were sharpened like a blade. They only spoke when it mattered. And when they did, they said something true. Speaking less doesn't mean saying nothing. It means removing fluff, getting real. It means listening, understanding, and only speaking when your words add weight to the conversation. Here's why this matters. When you speak less, people lean in more. When you pause before responding, your words carry intention. When you don't argue every time someone attacks, you show self-control. This doesn't make you passive. It makes you precise. Let me tell you a story. There was a young man who always jumped into debates. Every insult, every disagreement, he had something to say. It made him feel strong. But one day, an older mentor pulled him aside and said, "You talk like your words are free, but every word costs something: your time, your energy, your peace." That hit deep. From that day, the young man spoke less, observed more, and when he did speak, it wasn't to win, it was to elevate. Silence is not weakness, it's wisdom. And when you finally speak, people will listen, because they'll know you don't talk just to talk. You talk because it matters. How do you practice this kind of silence? Stop interrupting. Don't speak just to be heard. Speak to contribute. Embrace pauses. They create power. Let others fill the space. You don't have to compete. When your words carry weight, your silence becomes even louder. People will remember not just what you said, but how rarely you needed to speak to say something profound. Number 6. Your reactions reveal your real power. One of the most powerful teachings of Stoicism is simple but often overlooked. You are not what happens to you. You are how you respond to it. In other words, your reaction is your real identity. Anyone can smile when things go well. But who are you when you're insulted, betrayed, tested? That moment, right there, that's your truth. That's your power, or your weakness. The Stoics believed that external events are neutral. What gives them meaning is how we interpret them. That's why someone can face a storm and grow stronger, while other falls apart in the same wind. There's a profound quote from Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist who survived the Holocaust and deeply understood Stoic principles. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. That space, that tiny pause, is everything. It's where your future is decided. In that moment, you can choose silence over screaming, wisdom over reaction, action over impulse. Let's be honest, life will test you. Someone will disrespect you. Something will fail. You will feel pressure. And that's where the real work begins. Because when people see you respond with calm, control, and clarity, it shocks them. It earns respect in a way words never could. A true example: there was a man wrongly accused in front of a crowd. Most people would have shouted, defended themselves, demanded justice. But he stood silently. Not because he didn't care, but because he knew the truth didn't need panic. Later, everything was cleared. But what people remembered most? His silence, his restraint, his power. Why did it impact them? Because silence in the face of unfairness is strength, not weakness. Your reaction in hard moments creates your reputation. People may not remember everything you say, but they'll never forget how you held yourself when life got hard. So how do you build this kind of response? Practice the pause. Don't respond immediately when triggered. Ask yourself, is this worthy of my energy? Train your body and mind to breathe through conflict. The strongest people you'll ever meet aren't loud, they're composed. Calm isn't natural for them, it's trained, forged in fire, practiced in silence. The more you master your reaction, the less others can control you. And the more grounded you are, the more people will come to you not for drama, but for direction. Remember this: in chaos, be the calm. In insult, be the dignity. In betrayal, be the lesson. That's silent Stoic power. That's who you're becoming. So here we are. You've walked through the teachings, the energy, the force of ancient Stoicism, not just as words, but as real power, quiet, grounded, and respected. Let's reflect on what you've just unlocked. You learned that emotional control isn't about ignoring feelings, it's about ruling over them. You saw how presence, without saying a word, changes how people see you. You understood that detachment isn't cold, it's clarity. You embraced that discipline doesn't scream, it builds. You realized that your words matter more when there are fewer of them. And finally, you saw how your reactions shape your legacy. This is not theory, this is real. And this power, it's not reserved for philosophers or ancient warriors. It's already in you. Right now. You just have to live it. What makes this silent force different is that it doesn't need to be loud to be strong. It doesn't beg for attention. It commands it. And people may not be able to explain why they respect you, but they will, because respect is something felt, not forced. You don't need to dominate others. You need to master yourself. And when you do that, fully, honestly, consistently, you become someone who walks with quiet thunder. So now I challenge you, practice silence where others yell. Choose clarity where others chase chaos. Respond with power, not panic. And most of all, be someone who doesn't just talk about strength, but embodies it. In this noisy world, be the calm voice. In the storm, be the grounded presence. In confusion, be the still one everyone turns to. This is the silent force. This is Stoic power, and it's already yours. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I walk in silence, but I am felt everywhere. Like the video. Share it with someone who needs this. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and make sure to subscribe to the channel. There's more power waiting for you ahead.